want to absorb the place today. Today I don't have any other agenda. So let's go like this.
I'm in Rani. I've also come here for the first time this walk.
Okay.
Yes, I haven't been to the Hauz Khas monument complex. I love stone. I love old stone. And I keep taking pictures of it. And it's such a beautiful monument. That's what I want to do. The beauty of old stone.
Hi, good morning. My name is Ajit. From my perspective, I love nature and history. This place, and most of the ASI monuments we are very lucky have both, a lot of it. So from that perspective, this is another of those monuments. So definitely love seeing all that here.
Hi, I'm Leela, and I've also come for the old stones because I just like the feel of being around.
Yes, so I'm Preetha and know her on many levels, but this is something very special, and today is special. And also I want to see how this juxtaposes with some chaotic Hauz Khas village outside, completely different. So it's special for me, and I'm going to hear the story.
So today is your mother's
Death anniversary. She's the original Delhi file. So all my love for Delhi, its monuments, its culture, the number of trips she's made me take to Nizamuddin.
Ma'am, unfortunately, I didn't kind of meet her, so that's
her,
like
yeah,
a regret.
yeah.
You know, but so special today.
Yeah, so she is very important. And of course she was fond of plants and trees. So it's a combination which I inherited from her. So that is the story of today, and we will now wait for your friend who's wandered.
I don't think even
Sorry, yeah. She's the reason why
And
we
by
do this
the
walk
way, I
today.
was following this sari. I said, yeah, this is great style.
अरे ये इसका आइडिया है this walk on this traditional attire.
धोती कौन किसने पहना है? Getting revived in Karnataka, few interested people, they are doing it. And this design, this is called Anakale. That means from the top, this design looks like the footprints of elephant.
And the lady who is reviving it, her story is interesting. She wanted to revive the traditional weave, and she started with one cloth which was originally given to a Devdasi. And she picked that up and she said, I have to revive this weaving style because so many livelihoods depend on it. And of course, it's absolutely nature friendly. The dye she has used has a little bit of enzyme which is not biodegradable, but the rest of it is natural. So that's the story of this sari.
ताल्लुक है मेरा, बट यहाँ पर जामिया मिलिया इस्लामिया से मैंने हिस्ट्री ही में एमए किया है। तो यहाँ पर आने की एक वजह यही रही है कि यहाँ की जो हिस्ट्री है उसको जान सकूँ, ताकि कुछ एक न्यू इन्फॉर्मेशन यहाँ से ले जा सकूँ। यहाँ के जो कुछ प्लेसेस है, लाल किला, कुतुब मीनार, वो सब तो कई बार हुआ है, लेकिन यहाँ पर कभी आने का इत्तेफाक नहीं हुआ। तो इट्स फर्स्ट टाइम यहाँ से बहुत कुछ सीख कर जाने चाहिए।
आपने एमए किसमें किया है? किस एरिया में किया है?
मीडियल हिस्ट्री।
मीडियल हिस्ट्री। तो आपको बताना चाहिए मेरे पास कुछ। नहीं, बट जब भी आपको लगे कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग हो, डेफिनेटली बताइएगा।
But never been inside this. I really was ashamed of myself not being, because Hauz Khas I come evergreen. There's Green Park I go, Hauz Khas I go, and still has not visited this place, only from the balconies of those restaurants.
Same for vlogs,
Many people have done that.
Yeah. So I always wanted to, but you come after 5 only to this area. So never made it. And this time at least I wanted to.
So we just stepped out and we said, let's go. Good idea. Good. And similar to you, I also gained my interest in heritage science from my mom.
Wonderful. And please talk about so one of the things we focus on is architecture and planning. So pitching whenever we're talking about that.
You've done planning here in this area, you said?
One of our academic exercises is here. Yeah.
Wow.
Green Park. So I'm just visiting Delhi, and today morning we stepped out for one thing and came here and get crashed. And so this is it.
I've done a small firm in Allahabad called Dusvita, which does heritage works, because I'm not a historian, I'm nothing, I'm just interested.
Firstly, thank you for buying the crazy idea of wearing sari early in the morning. And here we are. And so I've known to Dillimerijaan for a while now. Since we're part of same community, I work in sustainability. I run upcycling center. We work with women cluster. We have cycle-based fabric, and the whole aim behind the venture is to help people be more mindful about their usage, consumption, and towards our resources. And coming to these works, I mean, I'm only happier that I finally know something like this happens in Delhi, which could connect a person like me who's born and raised in Delhi but comes from different areas. His parents came in, but you have this kind of relationship with the city where you're there, but you have that कि हम तो कहीं और से आए. But finally after 30 something years of my life, I realized कि कहीं और से नहीं आए, अब यही है. This is the place, this is our place. Know it, love it, and do the best with it. And these walks actually every Sunday morning teach me a little more about this place and make me fall in love with the city. So yeah.
And it's like a break from the stress of the whole week. Let go of everything and come back to things, recharge your batteries, and then go to work again every morning.
Thank you so much for coming. Yes.
I am Naren from Cluster.
Okay. Cluster individual.
What are you
What's your
looking
name?
for?
Navneet. Yes.
What are you looking for in the walk?
Like this, we usually do heritage walks on weekends.
Oh, very good.
Like sometimes in Delhi, sometimes Bharati Club, Index,
Oh, nice. Very nice. Very nice. Have you come here earlier? Largest number of historic monuments per square kilometer. Yeah. Definitely. And it has, what is the other trivia which I keep sharing? All of you come over. Yes. What is it? Yes. What is it? Tell me.
The highest density for number of species for birds.
So we're not the highest, we're second highest. Second highest.
Highest is what?
Nairobi. Amongst world capitals, there would be some non-capitals which
But Nairobi and all is not so crowded like this. Still we are the second.
We are second. So it's quite interesting that we have so much going for us. And so the reason we started under this tree is because it's a beautiful tree. You can see the flowers which have fallen on the ground. ये देखना. These are all
Night is so
Yeah.
I request you to pick it up and smell it, please.
Yeah, it is.
Fragrance, so much fragrance.
Because of that.
We forgot the name.
बिहार और बंगाल में हम इसको पकुन कहते हैं. एंड इसका जो ब्यूटी है, दिस इज द फ्लावर, ये बहुत दिन तक, इवन आफ्टर फॉलिंग डाउन, यू कैन ड्राई इट एंड इसका फ्रेग्रेंस रहता है. ट्रीज एंड समथिंग नोन एज एक्सोटिक ट्रीज, मतलब जो बाहर से आए हैं. ठीक है, तो ये नेटिव ट्री है. इस हम कैसे जानेंगे कि ये नेटिव है? ये नेटिव है. नेटिव मतलब यहाँ बहुत सालों से है. ये डजंट मीन कि सिर्फ इंडिया में, आसपास के लोकेशन में भी, देशों में भी है, बिकॉज तब तो बॉर्डर्स नहीं होते थे ना. सो फॉर एजेस दिस ट्री हैज़ बीन इन एंड अराउंड दिस एरिया. बट हाउ डू वी नो दैट समथिंग इज नेटिव? और यहाँ बहुत अरसों से, सेंचुरी से यहाँ है. हाउ डू वी नो दैट? मैम ऑलरेडी गेव द क्लू. लिटरेचर. एग्जैक्टली. सो लिटरेचर इज देयर इन द स्क्रिप्चर्स. ये बोल रही है ना कि हम शिव के उसमें देते हैं. वी हैव सीन दिस बीइंग part of miniature paintings where the Krishna is supposed to be playing the basuri under the mulchiri tree, and also kadam tree is one of you were saying. So therefore it is, if you know that it's been part of so much literature, so many ancient stories, folklore, must be, मतलब बहुत सालों से, तो मतलब ये तो हम बोल सकते हैं. And it finds its mentioned in Ayurveda. तो इसके जो, किसी ने मोलशरी का फल देखा है?
Some of the seed-like things lying
हाँ,
around.
it is here.
Not yet ripe, but it's.
जामुन वाला जो टेस्ट है वो ही वो थोड़ा और वैसे मुंह में से आफ्टर टेस्ट रह जाता है वाला, दैट उसका ज़्यादा वर्जन इज दिस. So this is finds itself mentioned in Sushruts Ayurveda texts, which means कि बहुत सालों से है. It is used for, because it's astringent, it's used to cure all the doshas which need balance through astringents, which is your heat, anything which is heating up needs to be balanced through astringent. So that is the beauty of this tree. It's a lovely tree. And what is one of the advantages of having a tree which is native here? Yeah, इस complex में काफी सारे native trees ही है, which is great. So what is the advantage? Why should we have trees like this? Planner, yes.
The birds would come.
Absolutely, birds, any pollinator, birds, insects, bees. Absolutely.
And we'll take care of the soil as well.
We take care of the soil. We'll take care of the soil.
Yeah.
What is
This isn't a very old tree.
this particular tree is not long. So, but it's great to have it. For all you know, it's been planted by the birds. You know, through them. Yeah, so it's very possible. What is happening in terms of our city, which is developing? History and ecology are very connected. तो अगर आप हमारे सिटी का हिस्ट्री देखेंगे तो ऐसे टाइप के ट्रीज रहे होंगे जो अभी हमें दिख रहे हैं. दिस वन यू कैन सी द ह्यूज ट्री इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू, लॉन्ग नीम हियर, ये रहे होंगे. पर अभी जो है वी आर चेंजिंग द होल हिस्ट्री ऑफ आवर सिटी थ्रू द ट्रीज. कैन यू टेल मी व्हाट इज द ट्री विच इज नाउ बीइंग प्लांटेड द मैक्सिमम? Palm, right? हाँ, so palm, crazy palm. So after 100 years ये walk कोई कर रहा होगा, बोलेंगे हमारे यहाँ का indigenous tree palm है और उन्होंने सब कुछ खराब कर दिया. पता नहीं क्यों ड्राई हो गया ये एरिया, क्योंकि हमने palm लगा दिए थे.
So विलायती की कर
Absolutely right.
History is called Hauz Khas because of this, right? What is this?
Bauli built by Alauddin Khilji.
Correct. This is Hauz Khas lake, which, by the way, Hauz Khas means that only. Hauz means a tank, Khas means special, royal. So this was a fairly large tank that was built by Alauddin Khilji. Alauddin Khilji was a part of the Delhi Sultanate. So, give context of history. You know, when this would have been getting built here, there was no Delhi, right? If there was a Delhi, Siri was the second city of Delhi, right? They say Delhi is made up of 7 cities, 8 cities based on what we count as a city. But Siri was the second city. The first city being Mehroli, which is where Qutub Minar, and that is where the Lal Kot walls were there, which was the original Rajput fort. And then when the Mamluks came in, they built up their city right around the same place, started building the Qutub Minar, things like that. So after that, when the original slave dynasty was overthrown by the Khiljis, Alauddin Khilji built his city Siri up north, which is where the Siri Fort area is, sports complex, all that stuff is, right? Asian Game Village. Basically, when they built the Asian Game Village, there was a lot of controversies. The archaeologists were trying not to do it because that is where the ruins were. So the Asian Game Village was built on top of it, right? All the sports complex there. So now, of course, it's all underneath, hopefully protected. But when that city was built, all cities need water, right? So cities are built where water has to be there. There were a lot of rivulets in Delhi at that point in time. But still you needed a fairly large water body, so he built this. He excavated a fairly large natural low depression. And there were waterways. If you see that canal there, you see a small arch bridge there. So there were all these waterways that used to come. Basically, if you see Delhi, you have Yamuna in the east. And then you have a ridge like this and a ridge like this. So it's like an L, and then there is this land in between. That is where a lot of all the original cities of Delhi were built west of Yamuna and east of those hills. And those hills would have little bit water would run off them, and there would be all sorts of streams. Now they're all Nala, Barapula, all that stuff, right? But originally they were like rivers. That's been all old cities, right? They were rivers, and now they are canal streets and whatnot on top of them. So this had a huge catchment area. And this was a natural depression, so water would form here, come in here. The monsoon, lot amount of water would be saved, and then people would be living in the city. There would be these water guys who would come and fill up donkeys and take the water there, right? So, some interesting things, right? In history, what is something we take so granted, which would have not been there, right? One of the most common things which we don't realize is running water. Nobody would have running water in the history. We open our tap and we brush and all that stuff, right? People wouldn't have water. There would have been thousands of people who would have been employed to just come here, the rich people would pay them. You had those musts in which people would take water and sell them, or poor people would come and carry their own matkas and all that stuff and take water back to their houses. But water was not so readily available. You know, other things like electricity, all that stuff is okay, modern. But most fundamental thing which we don't realize is water. Right? And we should that way be very grateful we live in modern times. So that we have sanitation and running water in our houses. So this place is sort of relevant like that, right? Because this is water. And then the other thing is the structure. You see here, right? A beautiful structure built by the Tughlaq. So Firoz Shah Tughlaq, so after the Khilji dynasty, the Tughlaqs came in. There were many Tughlaqs before. Tughlaqabad was built, Jahanpana was built, other cities of Delhi came up. But Firoz Shah is called Firozshabad. Not much is there, but anyone here who's cricket fan would know Firoz Shah Kotla, Delhi's cricket stadium. That is called Firoz Shah Kotla because the Firoz Shah Bad two monuments are there. Very little of that city is left because when Shahjahan was building Shahjahanabad, or what is now called Old Delhi, he took all the materials from there and put it into the Old Delhi wall. Very little of that is left. But as soon as Firoz Shah Tughlaq became the ruler, he commissioned this. His tomb is in the corner. We'll go there, right? So this was a part of his legacy. He was very legacy oriented. So while he built his city there, because that was next to the river Yamuna, he built this. And what complex was this, right? Another thing which we in modern times take for granted. What is that? Anyone wants to guess? What is this structure? Purpose for this structure was this whole building complex. There was no building here. It was just the city, and there would have been roads, pagdandis that people would have come and taken water, right?
Some madrasa.
This was a madrasa. Education, right? So education was very scarce, very rare. Only rich people could afford it. You would have the gurukuls and whatnot, right? So there was no schools, only gurukuls. So people would, a madrasa, education institution was a fairly significant investment by the rulers and all. So this was a madrasa. And at one point in time in the 14th century, one of the biggest learning centers of Islam. Because before that, a lot of that was in the Middle East. But in late 13th century, right, or 1560, 1570, Baghdad was sacked by the Mongols. And all the people escaped. And at that point in time, there was a lot of Islam and Islamic education happening in Delhi, in India. So this was one of the largest, a lot of big education is relocated here. And this was being built in the 14th century. So people they had to go somewhere, they would come here. So it was like a talent attraction point. So yeah, so this is the madrasa complex. We'll see a bit more of it. But yeah, that's largely a high level history of it. So yeah, essentially he started this complex, and obviously, luckily for him or for whatever, his reign was really long, almost 40 years, which is very, very rare at that point in time. And the thing, if emperors had longer lives and longer reigns, they could actually make a lot of changes, right? So from that perspective, he was able to do a lot of stuff, and in that way he became a little bit recognized as one of the sort of a visionary, also a little bit defamed in today's context because he was implementing Sharia law and all, but for his time he was doing what he thought was right. So he made like literally hundreds of schools. He made madrasas everywhere, he made mosques, he made caravansarais. So very almost like what was done by Sher Shah or even before that, right? So people invested in public buildings, public infrastructure, public institutions. So he also did a lot of that. He made a lot of canals. He made a lot of other things. Like caravansarais is very important because that drove trade. So he did all that investment, and hence, because of his long reign, he gets a lot of credit for development. Yeah, so that's essentially
Hanging upside down.
Hanging upside down.
Don't follow these rules. So they're huge.
Flapping.
Please see if you can see through this, or use flying fox. So they are also called flying fox. The face is exactly like a fox. Different from the normal छोटे-छोटे bats जो हमें दिखते हैं ना, चमगादड़. That is different. This one is huge. You must see the photo.
if you spread your arms, they're this wide.
Yeah. They're called mega bats. Okay. So what is the connect between the bat, ecology and history? Okay, very interesting. These bats, they stay in the same place for hundreds of years. Hundreds of years. And to stay, these fruit bats, obviously what is the one obvious thing that they need? It's a fruit bat. And the third thing is that they need a water body. Okay, they need some sort of a water body around. बिल्कुल वही नहीं चाहिए, but somewhere around there has to be a water body. Now the first point I said is that they are in the same place for hundreds of years. Okay, now when we go to Janpat, which is the main Europeans Delhi, you have a whole row of Arjun trees and it is full of fruit bats. अब वहाँ तो कोई है नहीं water body. Now you see where history comes in. कभी रहा होगा. The river Yamuna has changed its course over the years, right? So now you see how you cannot separate ecology and history together. So we know of a place by looking at what is the flora and fauna of that place. So we can connect the two things. So this is why it's very very critical to have it. To prove that what could be possible advantages of a fruit bat? क्या करता होगा वो? क्या advantages? Why should they be there? They're hunted a lot because they're big, they're fleshy. You can eat them. So they're hunted a lot. Yeah. So they're hunted a lot. So but what? There are a lot of myths about bats. अरे ये but even है bats are bad. They are vampires. So so what would be the obvious benefit of having fruit bats? So this problem of course. Exactly. It will lead to more creation of those lovely fruit trees. So that is something which will happen. So not nocturnal, not blind, and is huge. So you must look out for these. Yes, आपने भी देखा होगा you saying है in your ताजमहल. आपने यमुना है ना?
ताजमहल में हाँ एक सारी लेक्स है क्योंकि ताजमहल को इरिगेशन के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा वो चाहिए था उस टाइम तो वहाँ पे ना कई सारे साइकिल ट्रैक्स वगैरह बने तो हम जाते रहते हैं वहाँ पे तो देखते हैं यही सेम बेट होते हैं ये कभी दिन में भी फ्लाई कर रहे थे
क्योंकि यमुना है ना?
हाँ यमुना जस्ट
So the purpose of this structure was because of madrasa, right?
Oh,
Your classrooms.
But I talked about the madrasa earlier. No, not classroom. Right? These are hostel rooms.
Hostel
right? So
rooms.
some of the students can imagine. Thankfully, you're again living in modern times. Your hostels are not like this. But what you need to understand is at that time this would have been very good accommodation.
yes.
Right? Pakka buildings didn't exist. Things would have been, most of the buildings would have been what you would feel like that. Yeah. And this is where if you go inside, you can see that from the other side, you can see those vents. And also this is directed eastwards. So when the sun will come out, hopefully a little bit of shaft of light will come in.
There is. I mean, this place is changed and not changed.
Yeah, well, this is highly renovated by ASI. So if you look at it, they have used, people keep doing it. So this is, it was not the, let's say the later rich construction done by the Mughals. So there is cost of construction, and even if Tughlaqs had a very large empire, right? For example, Firoz Shah Tughlaq, though his empire was already falling because at that time there was a civil war, the Bengal Sultanate had already stepped away, the southern sultanates had gone away, but at that point in time, construction was still expensive. So this was like still the lowest cost Pakka construction you could do, right? Later on, we are sort of like Taj Mahal sets an incorrect baseline for how things would have been. Because even Shah Jahan, despite his wealth, right? Also, Shah Jahan's wealth was unaccountable, right? If you look at it from that point in time, 25-30% of the world GDP, okay, the whole world GDP was under him.
30? Yeah.
30% of the world GDP. One third of the whole world, one third of the whole world's production was happening in the Mughal Empire, at the height of the Mughal Empire, right? So it was unimaginable wealth that was there. That's why he was able to do so much construction. He was building Agra, which is where he started. Then he said that's not enough. He built his own city, New Delhi. Then he was building many other things, right? He was not building fewer things. So Taj Mahal, even with all his wealth, even if you go to the old fort, right, Red Fort area, there is very little marble there. That is because it was very expensive. So when you don't have marble, you use red sandstone. And that has become like the incorrect benchmark for what is heritage for us. So everywhere they are innovating, like the Central Vista, they are putting red sandstone everywhere. So it set a wrong baseline. This is how original history monuments were, stone, as people said they wanted to see stone. This is how originally a lot of construction was. There would have been chuna on top of it, which we will see ahead. it wouldn't have been like this when students would be there. They would have put students to work as well. So, but it wouldn't have been like this. Okay. Any questions? Or see, the original structure was 2 stories. Even there would have been rooms like this above where we were walking very comfortably, and there was a veranda just like this above. You can see the remnants of it, and
that continuation would have been with the dark.
correct. It would have been all the way through going into the mosque. So that is the mosque there. They have put some construction material inside. It's not open to people, but that was the mosque was a part of the larger complex of the madrasa. We're talking about palms. So lawns came with the British. Those of you who have travelled to England will see it's very green and lawns there. So when the British came, they put lawns everywhere. Right? That's why if you go to our colonial institutions like gymkhanas and the golf club, you will find nice lawns. And most government setups will quickly put a lawn them and palms around it. Right? So the Mughal, the Delhi Sultanate time, they would have orchards, but they wouldn't have a lawn. Right? Because lawn is very expensive in terms of water. Right? When they found it was already quite old. This was done in the 14th century. 150 years before even the Mughals turned up. Almost 200 years before the Mughals turned up, right? It's an old structure. And a lot of records are lost. So this is speculated to be tombs of teachers. But these are the classes. Now we are in the class.
Few flowers.
Yeah.
Actually see the last few flowers.
Yeah, September we will get it.
Yeah. So Amal Tash, if you've seen, so for me, Delhi is defined by the different trees and how they bloomed, right, across different seasons. So one of the signs that it's summer is that the Amal Tash starts blooming. Before that, you have the Palash and the Semal blooming. But that ends when Amal Tash starts. Have you seen the Amal Tash flower? It's huge, like a
yellow will
Perfectly
come down.
matches the weather.
absolutely so right. I mean, it's yellow and it kind of talks about
And that's
summer.
why it blooms only in May, this part of India.
Yeah.
Whereas southern part it blooms in April. And April, that's why this flower is used for Vishu.
Right? So absolutely. So it is everything. Like every tree has a connection to the festivals that we have, and to our
Availability is
absolutely. So in Amal Tash is also very popular in Buddhism, simply because it's there. In Sri Lanka it blooms, it's there. In Thailand it's there. So it is also the royal flower of Thailand.
Now, do you know for Vishu,
Yeah.
this bloom doesn't, we don't
Climate
have
change.
much in Kerala.
Yes.
It's gone. And it's imported from Thailand.
Thailand. I'm sure.
Thailand.
Very sad.
It's so costly to get one small bunch of that flower for the Vichukani. In Kerala, many people still stick to it. This समय yellow flower नहीं. वही yellow use करने.
At least if they're insisting there will be some revival.
Yeah, it is
for that.
imported. It's imported.
So one, I can give you a simple tip. Instead of doing something like climate damage, it was import.
Photographs with the bride and the groom.
We should look nice.
Hey, what do you mean?
The start of autumn or Diwali. So the smell of this, if you go under it, you'll still be able to smell the flowers. Right? So this is called Alstonia scolaris, and the reason why the term scolaris is part of it is the wood of this tree. Any idea? The wood of it's called Alstonia scolaris in Latin. So the wood of this is used for creating black bulbs.
Oh.
Yeah, so black gold. Black seed. Alstonia scolaris. Black gold. It's also called devil's tree.
Yes, because of the smell from because in Kerala, it's called Ednapala because there are 7 leaves together. So it's called Saptaparni. That is
Seriously. We're ending the work.
So these leaves, if you, they don't allow to plant it near your house. They say yakshi hai.
That is the reason why it's called devil's tree.
That is because of this flower only.
Reason is Rabindranath Tagore was very fond of this tree. So if you go to Shanti, maybe, but maybe you know, in Shantiniketan they give this cluster of 7 leaves out to the students, and there's a lot of